Welcome back to doing every Disney animated cartoon, because why the hell not? Today we're looking at all the cartoons from 1925, admitting that all of these have just turned 100 years old, or about to be 100 years old. The big difference between these cartoons and the previous year is the fact that there's a lot more animation and a whole lot less live action. There's barely any. My guess is because the animation has improved since then is the fact they didn't want to use a live action segment, since it was hard to integrate live action segments into better animation, while it's easier to implement live action into cheaply animated segments, if that makes any sense. And only one of these cartoons has the introduction of a live action intro segment, while the others are just start out animation and no other subtext in that. Also, this is the first time they will swap actors for the character of Alice, because I guess the first girl, they aged out? I don't think so, because it's only been 1 year. It doesn't make any sense. It plays silent, so it doesn't really matter. But they would swap them out periodically, though. The first Alice, Virginia Davis, is still in some of these shorts. Anyway, with that said and done, let's get into the shorts. The year does not start off well with one of the worst animated shorts called Alice Cans the Cannibals, which you can already tell where that's going to go from just the title. The short starts with Alice and her pet cat slash boyfriend slash I don't really know cat friend Julius going on a car ride, which ends up them going swimming in the ocean to, the jungle. Also, I think a part of this cartoon is missing, because during this transition with this weird elephant, it sprinkles water on them, and then suddenly, next scene, they're flying in the air, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And there's cannibals randomly. Okay. And then it's just them running from cannibals, and yeah, that's about it. This short doesn't have a whole lot going for it, it's not very good, so let's move on to the next one. The next animated short, Alice the Troubadour, I believe that's how you say it, is actually much better. Those didn't start off very good with them messing with a really deformed bull, which is not funny, just kind of disturbing. Like, that's kind of gross. The rest of the short is about animals going to a bullfight and seeing all the stuff going on there. My favorite segment is nothing to do with Julius or Alice. It's about when a cat dad wants to go in, but he's too broke to bring all his children in. So the dude scams the system by throwing his kids basically inside the fence, which is really funny, but then he's caught by the cops. Look at this guy, he's such an asshole. I was like, I'm just seesawing here, officer, I'm not doing anything illegal. Anyway, the rest of the short is like, wow, look at this girl, she can be out the bull, because the bull's not actually a bull, it's just the cat. But they get called out at the end when they realize it was all fake, and yeah, that's what they get. These characters are criminals, so I don't really feel bad for them. This wasn't the greatest short in the world, but definitely has some entertainment value. The next short, Alice Gets Stung, I don't even know what the title means, because most of the short is just Julius the cat trying to catch a rabbit, like it's a old Looney Tunes cartoon, but it's pre-Looney Tunes, which was not created yet, so yeah, maybe they stole this, who knows, who cares. So yeah, the majority of the short is just Alice then helps out Julius try to catch this rabbit and some Looney Tunes-esque shenanigans, but not really. It's, I guess catching a rabbit didn't have the right ring to it, so they called it Get Stung. And why is it called Get Stung? Well, we see there's a bear here that Alice tries to kill because she's a fucking bitch. And what do? Well, at the very end, there's a beehive, and the bear accidentally hits the beehive, so he gets stung. She doesn't even get stung, the bear does. I find it weird that the two main characters of these shorts are always doing very heinous, terrible things, and always getting chased around by cops and stuff like that. Like, jeez Louise. Anyway, the next short is Alice Solves the Puzzle. A big one because, well, Alice changed actresses, and she has a worse outfit than the other one, but who cares about that? This one's also noteworthy for having the first ever reoccurring Disney character, that being Pete the Bear, who will later become a cat, and he wants a crossword puzzle because that's something that he wants, I guess. Don't ask me why this guy wants crossword puzzles, but that's apparently his whole MO. This animated short's very strange because it's kind of like a beach short, but it's also like this weird crossword puzzle thing, and it repeats some jokes from previous shorts. It's just very odd. I mean, seriously, who the hell cares about crossword puzzles this much? Anyway, the next short is called Alice's Eggplant. And no, the short isn't about the fruit slash vegetable, it's about chickens rioting, not rioting, but protesting and striking, you know what I mean. Turns out that Disney's hated striking way before the strike of the 1940s. And that pretty much is it. They blackmailed the chickens later on to give them eggs, and yeah, they strike and they blackmail them. And at one point a pig pretends to lay an egg so he can get in. Overall, this short does have an interesting concept, but it pretty much is over before it even begins, so yeah, nothing much to say here. It's alright. The next short, called Alice Loses Out, has been very poorly preserved. You could probably tell from video footage, but it's still watchable, so I'm going to review it. Apparently Alice owns a hotel, I think, but like I said, she doesn't appear much in this cartoon like the otother ones, so it's just Julius the cat just fucking around. And here, he just performed some barbershop quartet stuff. Why is it barbershop quartet? Just barbershop cutting and all the other crap that goes along with it. Including becoming a woman in order to get a manicure, because apparently you have to be a woman in order to do that. But apparently it goes bad because the guy tries to sexually harass him, and then the elevator goes in the air, and then it explodes. Okay. Very weird. This cartoon takes forever to get started, and when it does, it's okay concept, but like I said, execution's pretty sloppy. It's alright. The next up is the only one with an intro that's live action, called Alice Gets Stage Struck, which, at first, you might be a little scared since it's Uncle Tom's Cabin, and you know, that means animation, but apparently it's not like that, so don't worry. So it feels pretty normal to the 1924 Alice shorts, where there's a live action segment of the kids doing something like putting on a stage show. But uh-oh, she gets hit in the head, and her bad acting, which is pretty sad to be a bad actor in the silent film, which is pretty hard to do, but she is a pretty bad actress compared to the previous Alice. She wakes up in Snowland, I guess, because the rest of the short is about snow, so the title, just pretty much ignore it. It's stage struck. She got struck in the state, I guess, whatever. And the rest is just Julius the cat messing with a guy in the snow, like making him eat his own words, quite literally. Oh, wow, that looks gross. This short's fine, but like I said, the stage part and the actual animation just does not connect very well, and just seems pretty pointless at this point. They just have a snow, like, animation, and don't worry about having a stage production. Maybe they needed extra time, so they had made a live-action segment. Who knows? Anyway, next up is called Alice Wins the Derby, which, by the way, spoils the ending for the short. You could have just said she enters the Derby, so then we don't know who wins, but whatever, they had to spoil it in the title. Anyway, Alice, Julius, and maybe Pete, he doesn't have a bootleg, but maybe it is him, who knows, join a race. And Mickey Mouse, there he is, Mickey, pre-Mickey there, he fires off the gun and gets the race started. Now, despite this short being called Alice Wins the Race, much like the other previous cartoons, it's pretty much about Julius the cat and his racing shenanigans, because, well, animating a girl is hard, because most of the time it's not even live action, it's just animation. This cartoon's pretty fun. I think it's just a good segment just to have a race in cartoons where all the wacky things go on. I mean, there's a whole cartoon about that. But yeah, it works pretty well, especially when he's trying to get up the cliff with a car. It's actually pretty funny, especially when the car starts growing features. I think when it comes to the gags, this one definitely has a lot more than the other previous cartoons, and they actually fit into the actual cartoon narrative, so it actually worked pretty well. So if any of these 1925 shorts I recommend watching, I would recommend this one. Oh, and she wins the race, by the way, or at least her animated form does. In the next short, called Alice Picks a Champ, it's about boxing, and this one also kind of spoils the title. It's about a bear boxer who may or may not be Pete, who is really good at boxing. He can even fight his own shadow. His first opponent he beats up is Mickey Mouse, who dies immediately. He then takes forever to fight this turtle guy. This segment goes on forever, and this turtle will reappear in some other shorts. I don't know if he has a name, we'll call him Cecil, because why not? But then this hippo pig guy who spits boxers might also want to fight. He thinks he's pretty tough, so you think, oh, maybe he's gonna win. But it's actually a pretty funny joke is that as soon as he goes in, he immediately loses. That's hilarious. And the rest of the short is just Julius fighting him, and for some reason, Pete eats his own muscle and it grows back. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Oh, in case you're wondering, Alice is just standing there, pretending to be shocked. Like I said, I don't know why they kept with these live-action segments, unless they felt like they needed to do it, because they don't even use them for most of these shorts. And honestly, I think it holds them back for the most part, which is probably why very soon we're going to get Oswald the Lucky Rabbit cartoons, which is basically just these cartoons, but with a rabbit. I think the concept of this short works, and the first half is fine, but it goes on for a little long. And you know, for a short cartoon, when you say there's pacing problems, there's kind of an issue there, but overall, it's fine. Oh, and Julius wins. I don't even know how he does it, he just does it. Next up is Alice's Tin Pony, which is not about a pony that's made out of tin, it's just referring to a train, I guess. And this pacing of this cartoon is terrible. Like, the train has to wake up, and it slowly wakes up, and it's just like, oh my god, get started. It's the fact that this train animation can be done pretty well. In fact, you're going to see a great one with the first Oswald cartoon, and Mickey's train cartoon is also incredibly well, but this one is just very slow and nothing happens. There's like barely any gags, it's very low animation, it's just not very good. The most that happens is that Julius puts coal in the furnace. Wow, how interesting. We get the reappearance of Pete here. I can tell it's him now because he's got a bootleg and he just, I guess, terrorizes people, I guess. And that's about it. Nothing really much to say here. The rest of the short is just him on a bike with other mice just shooting at the train, and that's really about it. It sounds more exciting than it is, but nothing really happens about it. Next up is Alice Chops the Suey. Ugh. The only part about this cartoon that works is the intro, where a very stock-looking hand draws in, which is ripping off the Fleischers out of the Inkwell series, by the way, so it's not even original. This is interesting, but at the same time, it's not very well done. The hand looks like shit. And the hand decides, you know what, let's do some racism towards Asian people. As stereotypical Asian characters steal Alice for no reason because they didn't want to animate her and attack Julius. And that's pretty much it. This cartoon's mostly the same running gag we've seen over and over again in these shorts, this time mixed in with some healthy racism, so overall this is easily one of the worst shorts I've seen so far. Well, it seems that Alice and Julius commit a lot of crimes, because in Alice a Jailbird, they go to jail. I mean, what'd you expect? So Alice, Julius, and that turtle guy just want to steal a pie because, well, I guess it smelled good. Which then causes a police dog, who we've seen multiple times, to shoot rapidly at them because, you know, stealing a pie is a serious crime. Once again, there's a lot of setup for the actual plot of them being in jail, because most of them are just running away from this police guy with the turtle, until they eventually get caught by him selling them free lunch. And in jail, the only joke really here is the fact that the guy slams his fist and he uses that to break the rocks down. That's about it. And then Julius tries to escape from these prison dogs, and that's about it. Also, apparently he can fly now. Don't ask, he just flies. This is a very strange short, let's just say that, but you know what, strange is better than nothing. Next up is Alice Plays Cupid, and this short, I gotta mention this, is that all these shorts were obviously silent. Sound cartoons weren't really a thing until Mickey Mouse, but they always had an orchestra playing, so you'd expect to hear that when you're watching it on YouTube. However, some of these shorts, they add in sound for some of them, which is fine, even though I prefer it not to have sound since it wasn't meant to be, and a lot of times the sound editing is not as good, and it doesn't sound right because it's not matching. This one, the one copy I found on YouTube, literally has some of the worst sound effects ever, where it sounds like so shit, and I have no idea why they did this.
Ouch! Nope.
Yeah, I'm sure they intended that sound effect to be in this cartoon back in the day. Anyway, I'm not gonna knock against this cartoon, because this one actually is pretty fun. So it seems that Julius has found a girlfriend that looks very similar to a future character known as Hortensia, who's Oswald's girlfriend, and he loves her immediately, and he has his heart struck. And Alice is there, by the way. She was just showed up randomly. She has nothing to do with this cartoon, so she has nothing to do with being Cupid or anything like that, because Julius falls in love with this cat by himself, so who cares? He tries to serenade the girl with his beautiful banjo strumming, and they love each other very much, but her father will not let them be, and he tries to beat the shit out of him. But that's okay, because the car drives that Alice is driving, apparently, and they immediately get married on top of a church. That was fast. The gags here aren't too bad, and I do like this little animated short thing going on, though, you know, it's fine. What's interesting about this cartoon is that for a while this cartoon was considered lost, but recently I think it was found. I'm not sure when it was found, but it was considered lost for a long period of time. The next one is Alice Rattled by Rats. The funny thing about this one is that once again, Alice has basically nothing to do with the plot because they didn't want to animate her or use her and implement live action, but whatever. It's up to Julius to guard her the home, and of course there's a rat there who looks like Mickey, but eventually this ends up with Julius fucking everything over and accidentally drinking Alice's entire brewery, which she has for some reason, even though by this point in time that would have been illegal because it was during Prohibition, plus she's supposed to be a little girl. Apparently she has her own moonshine business going down here, and little Julius here gets drunk off the stock. Okay, very bizarre. The rest of the short is pretty much just like the Mickey Mouse short When the Cat's Away, where a bunch of mice, or should I say rats, because these are apparently rats because of the title, play on piano and start dancing away. Like this rat over here, he does so much dancing, jeez Louise. Well, nowhere near as good as the Mickey Mouse cartoon that's very similar. It is pretty fun, though it would have been better in sound because, you know, this is silent, so none of the sound effects existed when it originally was made. This cartoon ends very bizarrely when a rat decides that he's just going to throw a bomb at Julius, who failed at getting rid of the rats, even though he thinks he did because he's an idiot, and then he gets blown up. That's just how the cartoon ends. Very strange. Alright, we're on our final short of 1925, Alice in the Jungle, which, oddly enough, has the original Alice here in her last appearance. You would think I'm watching these out of order, but I'm watching them in production order here, so For some reason, the last one in 1925 has the original Alice, who we haven't seen since the beginning of 1925. Oh well. And much like the previous shorts, is just a Julius the Cat cartoon where he messes with some jungle animals like alligators who are trying to eat him in his tail. And you know, elephants go for a swim, and the trunk is a trunk. That's kind of clever. And a good section of the cartoon is dedicated to a monkey barber who wants to give barbershop stuff to these animals. But the hippo decides he's going to eat the pole instead because it looks like a candy cane. But that's alright, because Julius is going to help this guy because he's a good guy now all of a sudden. You know, he's a criminal. He's been in jail. He's going to use a tiger's tail as a new barbershop pole, because why not? And you think the tiger would attack him, but apparently no, it just runs away and he gets a new barbershop pole. How lovely. Oh, and randomly near the end, a lion starts attacking Alice, and all of a sudden this becomes about her getting attacked by lions, which is very similar to a very first cartoon of this style, so hey, I guess it comes full circle. And that's it, they get chased by a lion and they run away on an elephant. The end. Also, the elephant can fly with its ears, so this is just Dumbo. Way before Dumbo. Very strange. But I've been saying that a lot, haven't I? And that's about it for all these cartoons. Thank you for watching. 1925 was a very strange year because these cartoons were kind of like hit or miss, very much so. And they don't seem like they know what they want to do. Let's see if they improve next year, so I'll see you next time when I cover all the 1926 Alice comedies or Disney cartoons, you will. See you then.